Welcome to another insane reaction video with the Hustleman 3.0. Join us to uncover the full truth. Please like, comment, and share to join the Hustleman 3.0 and his most trusted pal, Wada Black.
I was told I'm allowed to talk about.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes.
Does the U.S. government have any reverse, okay, we already answered that question about retrieval programs. Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address that in a closed session, ma'am.
Reverse engineering is the intellect skill set that people that are able to figure things the fuck out need to have. And so if you can look at something and then work it backwards to get to where you are or where you're starting from, I mean, ultimately, that's how I've done absolutely everything in my life is go, first of all, have the vision of what it is. You have to have the creativity, the courage, and the balls to go, you know what? I'm going to create a business. No one's going to give me permission. No one's, saying go do this. I personally came up with the idea and I'm going to do it. I create the vision of what that is. That could be a relationship, the business, physical fitness, whatever the goal is. And then I imagine the steps backwards to get there. And when I reverse it all, I can literally take whatever it is. It could be $1 billion company. And I can imagine what it is. And if I'm smart enough and researched enough, I can walk that backwards all the way to step one, which is the step that is right in front of my feet. It's the one I need to do next.
Let's say you really wanted to up your hacker game and learn reverse engineering or binary exploitation. Where would you start? You should check out Nightmare, a new free course that focuses on giving you the reverse engineering skills to find those O-days that become everybody's nightmare. Because it's based on CTF challenges, it's extremely well documented, which is great if you're just getting started. And there are hundreds of write-ups. These are just some of this buffer overflow challenges. And if you get stuck, there is a Discord to help, which is super generous and awesome.
So there are real UFOs, but there are UAPs. These UAPs, which is why they changed the name, are things that we have reverse engineered based on, discovered craft that were left behind or crashed. And how would they crash? People say, well, if they're so smart, why'd they crash? Well, space travel is not safe. It's hard. And if you come to a planet and you don't know that they may have a particular type of radar, which is what they were using in 1947, a scalar beam, you don't know that maybe this scalar wave is going to disorient your ship and your navigation system is going to make you crash. I think they figured this out by accident when they went to scan to see what the heck this thing was moving across the sky. Using this new technology called scalar, which Nikola Tesla had left the plans about, they actually rebuilt this thing. Then it brought down the craft. And then when they recovered the craft, they reverse engineered the craft. And so that began the process of learning how to crash these things and reverse engineer.
New materials that are on the lab bench right now, they can literally change shape on command. They can become almost a muscular material.
We could have an airplane that optimizes its shape for the different flight conditions it's in.
There's definitely a lot of amazing technology that's going on with the Lockheed Samurai, based on a small maple seed-like looking device. The fact that we can package enough energy for something like that to fly and still carry a sensor, a camera, enough control capability for it to fly is amazing to me.
Here's a hack to reverse engineer your ChatGPT conversations. Say you've been chatting with ChatGPT for a long time and the thread is massive. You've trained it very well and you love all the answers that it's giving you, but you don't remember what you wrote in order to get the answers from ChatGPT. You can actually ask it, can you list out everything you know about me from the above in detail?
When you write some code in C++ and compile it with your favorite compiler, it is converted into machine code, which is binary. Ones and zeros. Since it is very hard to read machine code and we usually won't have access to the source code, we convert the code to an understandable language, which is assembly. The conversion from machine code to assembly is done using a disassembler. This is where IDA
Alright, pay attention, it's getting deep, y'all, pay attention.
Comes in. It is not only a disassembler, but it also comes with a decompiler, which can decompile the machine code or assembly to readable C++.
In December of 2018, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office issued a number of seemingly out-of-this-world patents to the Navy for a hybrid aerospace undersea craft capable of extreme speeds in both water, the air, and in outer space. A true trans-medium military platform. Technologies such as, quote, a high-temperature superconductor, a high-frequency gravitational electromagnetic wave generator, a force field like electromagnetic field generator, a plasma compression fusion device. This aerospace vehicle, utilizing the mentioned components, would be able to achieve truly extraordinary feats of speed and maneuverability in all three mediums of air, water, and space. This sounds eerily similar to some of the established 5 observables of UFOs encountered.
Now this is crazy. They got a whole. You mean to tell me? Wait a minute. So you're telling me these guys got patents for all types of crafts right now? We tripping.
By Navy, proven repeatedly in experiments. Consider this. If helium superfluidity behavior looks strange to you, imagine how a technological craft with these properties may look to an observer. Dr. Pace says in the patent that such a craft as his may need to be of triangular shape or cone in order to work. Such technology concepts does raise the question, could the Tic Tac have in fact been a Navy weapons platform test? Or was it truly anomalous, perhaps non-human technology at work? You be the judge.
Now, with all these different kinds of UFOs showing up on videos lately, could these be real diagrams of...
Met probably 4 or 5 people who have told me off the record, confidentially, I don't think they mind if I express it without mentioning who they are, that they have been part of the reverse engineering program, or they have seen the anti-gravity stuff that we have created based on UFOs, based on technology. And I think that gets back to where the recent, the whole recent debate has been within Congress around, do we have a reverse engineering program?
Right.
Is it in the government?
Right.
Or is it in private industry? Right? You have that guy, Dave Grush. And so I've been, peripherally involved with both of those projects, at the Galileo project at Harvard, which is taking a very scientific view, and then the Soul Foundation, which is looking at this broader aspect, which includes the elements like Jacques Vallée and Diana Pasulka and others have talked about.
When you talk to these people that say that they're working reverse engineering things, where do they think these things came from?
We have in Lockheed right now, there are craft that can go to Mars in a few hours, right now in Lockheed. And this show is talking about where the aliens are traveling at certain percentages of the speed of light. That was one problem I had with it, is the engineering and physics. The other problem I had is the whole show took place within the context of a very reductionist, materialist paradigm that did not acknowledge psi, didn't acknowledge ESP and psychokinesis, and the fact that these aliens would probably have these abilities, to a much greater degree than terrestrial humanity. There is this shack on the side of a highway in California.
Talk about it.
Nondescript warehouse, small warehouse. And you go into this warehouse, and the whole floor of the warehouse is an elevator. And it drops Lord knows how many hundreds of feet. What this guy said is that they are not only reverse engineering craft from retrieved debris in this facility, but they're actually training pilots to fly them. And he told me that the main problem that they have in that training program is that the pilots experience extreme disorientation because of the warping of space-time by these craft. This is one of the main reasons this technology is being hidden, because they discovered very early on that these are not simply devices with propulsion systems capable of navigating space very quickly. Like they can take you from New York to Australia and, right? They're flying time machines.
Right.
And our pilots don't know how to handle that. They have a very hard time. They get disoriented, temporally disoriented. They get their sense of the passage of time gets really messed with. The technological singularity is this moment when you have a convergent advancement of all kinds of technologies, from genetic engineering to nanotech to artificial intelligence, cybernetics, and so forth. And they start to advance exponentially, so that it's no longer a curve slowly sloping up, right? It becomes a spike on a graph. the curve becomes a spike. There's such an acceleration in the development of these technologies, and any one of them facilitates breakthroughs in the others at such a speed where all of them converge in a way that the human mind is no longer capable of wrapping itself around.
This is an example of how the fishbone, which is a problem-solving tool, has been reversed engineered. So I'm looking at the answer I want, the outcome, and then used it to identify what has to happen. So on the top left, people, what people issues will be in place to enable me to achieve my outcome. Then method, what methods will be required. Measurement, top right, how will I measure? How will I know I've got enough clients and customers? And then bottom left, machine, what technology do I need in place? The environment, what environment will assist me in having enough clients and customers? And finally, what materials will I require to enable me to achieve my outcome? A useful tool.
So at this point, I have about 1,100 of these folks.
What's a trace landing?
When one of these, in this case, it was an extraterrestrial vehicle, not one of the man-made ones. So we call them ETVs for the ones that are of extraterrestrial origin. The ones that are man-made are often called ARVs, alien reproduction vehicles, meaning that they're simulating, not totally, but simulating the energy propulsion capabilities of what we've reverse engineered and studied since the 40s.
Okay.
We'll get into this in a moment. What's the technology transfer arc from the 40s to now? And that's very interesting. It's going to be in our new film called The Lost Century and how.
Let's talk about reverse engineering and why it's important for game cheats. A common disassembler for any kind of reverse engineering is IDA. What IDA does is it reverses your .exe files into assembly, so it's a little bit easier for humans to read.
Let's reverse engineer knee ability. Backward is step one because that allows you to start gently working on the ability to handle forward impact.
I'm reverse engineering this shift. This is out of my customer's semi-pulling truck.
A lot of the things that I kind of learned from you is the reverse engineering mindset. And that's really, that was really important to me. It's
Scramble is underway to identify and perhaps replicate unidentified mystery material that's been collected in multiple sites around the world.
A few of the samples have defied analysis by leading scientists who say they don't know how the material was engineered or why or by whom.
Now, some of this metamaterial was allegedly collected in connection with UFO incidents, which gives the whole endeavor another worldly glow. The I-Team's George Knapp has the story and the Las Vegas connection.
For years, the Pentagon secretly studied the seemingly impossible abilities of unknown craft captured in these military videos. Scientists now want to know if the materials used in these mystery aircraft allow them to do what they do. For years, one of the secret studies was carried out by BASS, a Las Vegas operation hidden within Bigelow Aerospace. Documents first reported by the I-Team show that BASS landed a contract with the DIA, and one of the objectives was to study so-called metamaterials, as well as futuristic technologies.
It was a multi-layered bismuth and magnesium sample. Bismuth layers less than a human hair. Magnesium samples about 10 times the size of a human hair. Supposedly picked up in the crash retrieval of an advanced aerospace vehicle. Looks like it's been in the crash.
In Las Vegas back in June, physicist Hal Puthoff came pretty close to saying that this weird wedge of metamaterial came from a crashed saucer, but he can't know for sure. Puthoff and his colleague Dr. Eric Davis are on the cutting edge of attempts to identify an assortment of bits and pieces that are seemingly beyond anything we can create. This one sample is engineered in layers thinner than microns.
Yeah, that's crazy. Do you believe now?
Unknown on Earth, and for a purpose we can only guess.
Nowhere could we find any evidence that anybody ever made one of these. When we talked to people who, in the materials field, who should know, they said, we don't know why.
The cool part about this axe is it expands and contracts. It works via just a standard 4-bar with a latch. We have to understand how this works. And the way we're going to do that is by reverse engineering it. Okay, 3 times bigger, scale it up. Doesn't actually work that way. 2 times the blades, and done. Let's see how durable it is.
Well, since it's a hacksmith project, we're not chopping wood. We're chopping concrete.
Alright, sit back,
Why don't we make it
relax,
out of
and
one-
enjoy this new content, and let's re-engage together.